So maybe Alex, I could turn over to you.
Yep. So
sure, I will. Let's see if I can get my technology working. Let's do that. I'll do my best to be boring and conventional, as John was saying. Let me help if I can.
we're going to have competition there.
Get a slideshow. Right. Let's see if we can get it working. Hopefully that's working. Give me a shout if not. So I was going to give a quick overview really of what the community is doing globally. So my name's Alex Campbell. I'm from the Long Duration Energy Storage Council. Just a little bit about the council. We were formed at COP26 in 2021. Really representing the four families of LDES, as we call it. So electrochemical, mechanical, chemical, but also, of course, thermal. And it's great to see so many of our members speaking today. It's really fantastic, and really inspiring messages actually coming out. But the council doesn't just represent technology providers. We also got what we call our anchor members and our service provider members, really kind of across the whole ecosystem. Just a quick point on definitions. We define LDES as being able to discharge continuously for 8 hours or more, and that goes right up to seasonally, potentially with hydrogen. So as I say, really representing the full family, so the interlinkages between power, between heat, and between hydrogen. Of course, we, as an industry association, as you'd expect, we put out plenty of reports, and I just wanted to draw everyone's attention to two in particular. So late last year, we put out our industrial decarbonisation report, how LDES technologies, very much including thermal, as you will have heard today, can really help to decarbonise industry. And then also we had our heat report from 2022. Now this, what particularly fascinating for me, we found that the lowest cost pathway to net zero could have up to 8 terawatts of LDES capacity. And I can't remember if it was John or one of the previous speakers talked about the fact that heat batteries will be more than half of that. We found 5 terawatts of thermal on that lowest cost pathway. And we're talking about savings to the global economy, the global energy system, of up to $540 billion US dollars annually. So huge potential globally. Plus, of course, all the avoided carbon emissions, critically important for the sector. So, of course, we put out the reports, as you'd expect. We work closely with partners, though. So we're founder member of the Global Renewables Alliance, which includes the wind sector, green hydrogen, solar, geothermal, and hydropower. We worked with IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, at the last COP to get this tripling renewables by 2030 target into the COP outcomes text, and 130 countries signed up to that. We're pushing hard now for the next COP to have actually an energy storage target, and within that we obviously particularly want to see a sub target, if you like, for thermal. So we're working right now with partners on that. I won't list all of these, just to again set the context, show all the types of people that this sector is currently working with. Huge range of partners globally, really trying to push the importance of both thermal and then LDES more broadly. And it's beginning to pay dividends, lots of money in different countries coming from governments supporting storage and LDES more broadly, and then thermal storage in particular as well. And we're starting to see that come through into things at the multilateral stage as well. So the International Energy Agency, their ministerial outcome document earlier this year, talked about the need for setting storage targets. The G7 in their most recent communique, their energy and environment communique, talked about 1.5 terawatts by 2030, working with the Clean Energy Ministerial on their supercharging battery initiative. We want to make sure that batteries there is synonymous with storage more broadly, have to work on the language there with those types of stakeholders, but it's beginning to pay off. And I think we're really seeing in our engagement with the multilateral stakeholders how critically important thermal is as well. So it's an exciting time from my perspective, coming from a kind of international energy perspective. It's really moving up the agenda of these organizations. So just a quick overview from me. Contact details are there, our reports are available. And then later on this year, we've got an update to our cost benchmarking coming out, and also a project tracker, which will hopefully be of interest to partners and people on the call. So thank you very much for the time.
No, that's fantastic. I guess for some people that aren't aware as well, the LDES Council are a global non-profit where they've been educating the market on the need for LDES and variety of solutions. So thank you. And Alex is a director there, so fantastic introduction. We also have Blaine Collison from the RTC, the Renewable Thermal Collaborative. So we're focused on, as a coalition, bringing together buyers and solution providers to accelerate the storage transition. But across both of these players, we've been doing a ton of research, helping with policy, really pushing this ahead. So we'll have a quick introduction on RTC and then field some questions for both of you to discuss.
Very good. Thank you very much for having me. Let me apologize in advance. I'm in the quietest corner of the airport that I could find. Airports are not known for quiet corners during the day, but we'll find out how good the noise cancellation on the earbuds is. So I come at this, the RTC comes at this from sort of the other side of the equation here. And I should note, by the way, this has been an amazing set of presentations. And I'm excited and encouraged sort of all over again, which is something, given that I work in the climate space. It's pretty easy to be discouraged here. The RTC is a global buyer-led coalition focusing on decarbonizing thermal energy with renewables, particularly industrials, but also building applications. We spend our time working on the intersection of technology, market development, and policy. Got to have it all, right, to hit our targets, to scale, to industrialize, as John was noting. And we are centered around the buy side. And I could probably spend all of my time here. So these are companies that have come to us to work these problems together. They all have public climate targets, whether those are science-based target or net zero commitments, carbon neutrality. And they've all come to the RTC to figure out, okay, well, so now what, right? In some ways, setting the goal is the easy part. Now figuring out how to implement decarbonization solutions across complex global operations while growing the business, supporting the business, hitting production targets, right, sustaining the business, that's the challenge. They're all trying to understand the technology mix, the partnering possibilities, how to pay for this stuff, right? How to get from setting this ambition to achieving it in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's a really interesting group. As you can see here, it's global industry. It's the full reach of sectors from food and beverage and pharma and CPGs up through heavy industry, right? Saint-Gobain and Steel Dynamics, Eastman and the chemical sector, right? So the full range of industrial requirements is represented here. At their request, the RTC also includes solutions providers. These are the technology developers, the third-party financiers, utilities, consultants, right? The ecosystem of potential partners for the buy side. And you'll see some familiar names from today here on this slide, right? We're delighted to work with Rondo and Bren Miller and Antora and some of the other thermal storage developers. This is an incredibly promising category and interesting category. So these companies come work in the RTC so they can spend time with the buy side. This is $6 trillion in market cap here, and there are actually a couple of members that we haven't. This slide keeps going out of date. It's a lovely problem to have. So I guess what I want to be sure to convey here is that this is in many ways, we're right at the beginning of this segment. There is a massive slug of blue chip investment grade credit off-takers already here and coming. In addition to some of the ones we've heard about today, there's more, and they're here and they are actively trying to figure out how to do this. So this is an amazing market segment. Just a note on the RTC, we do of course have reports. We have some neat reports on thermal decarbonization broadly. And then again, specifically on the thermal battery sector and opportunity, have some wonderful case studies and tools. I will just self-indulgently flag our own annual summit in Washington, D.C. It's in person. It's 300 people in a room for a couple of days digging into this. It's amazing. It's the buy side, it's the solution side, it's the policy people, it's third-party capital. I invite you all to come participate. We're looking forward to seeing our friends Rondo and Brenmil and Antora there. Share my contact information. Come learn more, because this is an amazing space with lots of companies trying to go and scale, and that's exciting. So thank you very much for the minutes today.
Absolutely.
No, that's wonderful to hear. So I guess to kick things off, what we've heard from a lot today is from the company perspective, from all the technology providers providing the solution. But across your networks, well, how do you think that corporates view thermal LDES, and how can companies help to adapt to meet their needs?
Well, John noted that there are multiple thermal storage projects in the recent OSED awards announcement, and those awards are fantastic. So from where I sit, corporates are very interested in this, and what they're doing now is understanding how these assets deploy, integrate with their systems, how to think about electricity pricing and access to wholesale, right? The wholesale power markets, some of the structural issues that need to align to make this really possible. They get it, right? And they get that this is a renewable electricity force multiplier, and they're working through how to actually really get down to implementation discussions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Alex, on your side, as we've also covered LDES more broadly, are you seeing that corporates are trying to experiment across the LDES spectrum as well?
So I mean, I think many of the members have already articulated some of the, there's a lot going on, certainly in the food and drink sector. We're seeing in Australia people talking about off-grid solutions, and it's really interesting there to think about how thermal technologies can help. But I think, there's just a huge amount going on globally. It's hard to pick particular examples, but really positive space.
And viewing it from more of a global perspective, are you seeing different regions tackling thermal LDES in different ways?
So I think one of the big challenges that we are seeing is things like grid fees and how thermal is treated, and different markets are starting to address that in terms of treating it as a very flexible flexible demand pull, if you like. Where it's got problematic, many of our members are reporting that they're just being treated as a very inflexible source of demand, which of course is completely crazy. With the whole point about these technologies is they can draw when when supply is readily available in terms of low carbon electricity. So I'm hoping over the next 12, 24 months we can start to see some real progress on that in different jurisdictions, which can then hopefully feed through to the other jurisdictions as they see some of the key benefits there.
No, that's great. And I know, Blaine, on your side, you've been digging quite deep into the US policy as well, in terms of seeing what support can be done to help unlock on the US side.
Yep. Yeah, that's right. Certainly we had a win in IRA, and we're having some wins, I think, in 48C, right, and getting some of the incentives right. In some ways, this is a relatively new asset class, and the knowledge base on the policy side and on the utility side and utility policy side hasn't caught up with the capabilities here. So, Alex's observation is spot on, right? There are some adjustments to make here in those spaces in the state policy, utility policy. As we are successful in doing that, the runway is just going to increase and widen, and the curve is going to steepen, and it's going to be amazing.
So what do you two think then are the key challenges that the market still needs to overcome, and how can they be addressed?
I think that my key challenge is, in fact, access to appropriate electricity market structures, right? Getting those straightened away, access to liquid wholesale markets, right? Pricing tariffs that reflect the flexibility of the asset, and frankly, letting heat batteries participate in ancillary services markets, right? I think that's one of our next key priorities here at the RTC.
I would second. I think that's the number one thing that I've been hearing from our members as a kind of slightly different challenge is getting some of the industrial users to step out of their conservative small C box and kind of realize that there are different options here that will deliver them the same service. But with some basic engineering, we're not talking about rocket science. It's moving pipes around. It's kind of slightly restructuring factories and so on. But once they get into that space, as we've heard already from some of the previous speakers, they like it. It's technology works. It's not groundbreaking. It's quite boring as we've already heard. So but those market structures are the absolute killer, I think, at the moment. Once we crack that, it's going to be fantastic.
And do you find there's a key pain point or challenge that your partners and members have been finding generally when trying to adopt thermal LDES? Has there been something they go, oh, I wish that this company had this function, but we've just not found it yet?
I don't think so. Right. The thing that I keep noticing is just the sheer complexity for an industrial of starting to deploy decarbonization solutions, right? Because complicated processes, multiple locations, multiple technologies in the basket, right? So they're all trying to figure out, okay, which technologies where, in what order, how am I paying for this again? Where are we making investments in facilities? Which facilities are we keeping? Where are we in the CapEx cycle? Can we use third-party money? It gets very complicated very quickly, and becomes as much an hours in the day challenge, I think, more than there's a fundamental gap here. Notwithstanding, then as they sort through all that, then they run into well, can we get the right pricing structures? Can we access? We know there's cheap renewables out there. Can we access them? Okay, so now we have to bring that part into, right? It's a labor-intensive process in some ways, and I think we're going to get better and better at that as the opportunity deploys and starts to scale, and the light bulb or the heat brick goes off.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
And I guess also the need for commercialization, as we're starting to see more and more of these larger projects tick off, then you're going to actually have more operating data. And then at that stage, people can start to say, okay, with confidence, I think I should go for this technology provider for this application. So hopefully in the coming months, we'll have a much stronger position to base things off of as well.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, listen, I want to thank you both very, very much. That was great. And I think it's a really full wrap up to everything we've heard, and anybody who's still surviving on the call. Our mission is I guess in unison with what you both are doing, is to kind of get the financial community comfortable with this opportunity and excited about it, in its various forms, whether it's corporate or project, because I think you've laid it out there. There's a big market. It's about commercialization, and I think there's some big promise there. So I want to thank everybody who's attended the call, all the speakers, for their generous time and contribution of slides. So on behalf of Pantokrator, from Alex and myself, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now. Thank you.